Okay, number 12. Right triangle, finding the missing side length, good old Pythagorean theorem. X happens to represent the hypotenuse. 8 squared plus 9 squared equals x squared. All right, square them out, add them up. 64 plus 81 gives me 145. Square root it and simplify that radical. 145, that goes nothing, okay? 145, square root of 145 is the simplest radical form. It does not go down any further. For the area, we know 1/2 base times height. And in this problem, again, the base and the height always have to be perpendicular to one another. So the two sides you're going to use is 8 and 9 since they are perpendicular. So 72 and half of 72 is 36 square units. Okay, letter B. The X this time happens to represent your leg. C is your hypotenuse. Now, as we work through this one, because we're dealing with some radical side lengths, you better make sure you are using those parentheses properly. Square root of 6 times the square root of 6 gives me 36, and the square root of 36 is 6. And then right here is the big mistake if you don't pay attention. This is going to multiply out to give me 12. Subtract 6, square root it, and you cannot take the square root of 6 anywhere, okay? Now walk it around and get me the perimeter. I have two sides that are both 2 root 6, and I've got that 2 root 3. You can't do anything more with that. The directions say simplest radical form, so that is the best perimeter that you can say. Letter C. 2 paths from the school to the store are shown below. One uses Riverside Drive, and the other one uses Cypress and Central. Which path is shorter? So we got the path from school to the store along Cypress and then Central. So if we walk Cypress, that's 9. Central is 16 miles. That's quite the walk there. Okay, then we want to compare that to if we were just walking the direct path. Well, Riverside Drive is in part of a right triangle then. That's going to be your hypotenuse. So 7 squared plus 9 squared equals c squared. Okay, 49 plus 81 gives me the square root of 130. Now here we're comparing 16 to the square root of 130. That's a little odd. So it probably makes more sense to take the 130 and go ahead and just take the square root of that. And that turns out to be roughly, let's just go with, say, a tenth, 11.4. So 130 is, the square root of 130, Riverside Drive, is definitely shorter. So Riverside by, and then 16 minus that 11.4. As you subtract that, it's roughly 4.6 miles shorter. Last one there, letter D. The area of a rectangle is 168. What is the length? Well, you have this as 7, and we know it is a rectangle, and the order that we calculate the rectangle is base times height. Well, 7 times what is giving you 168? So 168 divided by 7 is 24. So this length right here is 24. Now we want to know what's the length of the diagonal, which is right here. And because it's a rectangle, we have ourselves right angles. We have ourselves a right triangle. So that is the diagonal is the hypotenuse. 7 squared plus 24 squared equals c squared. All right, so 7 squared plus 24 squared is going to give me 625. And if you are not aware of it, the square root of 625 is perfect. It is actually 25. So the length of the diagonal is 25 feet.